Hi, I'm Ginny Rosenkranz with the University of Maryland Extension. You know, December is the perfect time to prune boxwoods. Why? Well, most plants go dormant in the wintertime, and boxwoods are no exception. And that is actually the best time to do the pruning of the boxwoods. Now, why you prune them? Well, I will tell you about that, and I will also introduce you to various forms of boxwoods, including this beautiful variegated one. I feel like that one. Beautiful variegated one. This is called Elegantisma. And then once we've got all these boxwood cuttings, because we've gone ahead and pruned them the right way, we will make this really awesome boxwood wreath. Bye. So stay tuned for Delmarva Gardens coming up next right here on Pack 14. December is a time when you really should trim your boxwoods. And the Eastern Shore is famous for boxwoods because we have such wonderful sandy soil. And one thing the boxwoods needs, excellent drainage. So if you have heavy clay soil and you want boxwoods, you want to make sure that you really improve the soil or make a berm and plant them high. If you have our Eastern Shore sandy soil, you're doing fine. So what they need is really good sandy soil, but they need also a little bit of shade. And we're here right now at the Salisbury Zoo, where this whole area of boxwoods right here gets a little bit of shade. On the other side gets a little bit more sun, but it's okay as long as they get some water, and every now and then these guys get some water. What I'd like to show you about boxwoods when you're trimming them is that you want to be able to trim them so they can go ahead and get a little bit of air and sunlight on the inside. A lot of people think that they should go ahead and take electric clippers and make them into complete circles or meatballs, whatever. Boxwoods have a wonderful soft cloud-like shape all on their own without any help from anybody. But what happens with them is sometimes when you're left alone, they have a tendency to get so thick that when you pull them apart, there's hardly any green in there at all. Now this one we've gone ahead and trimmed a little bit so you can see even down here, there's just a little bit of green, and that's good. You want to have good air circulation in your boxwoods for two reasons. One of them, a little bit of light will get some more greenery growing on the inside, so if you have to do some major pruning, it's not going to be stark. You'll actually have some green all the way through. And two, boxwoods, because they can grow so very, very dense, they actually get diseases because air doesn't go through them. One of the things you need to do is be able to take your hand and go right through the boxwood. Now this one I can go right through here, and this one I could probably go through there and through there. That's because we've done some pruning on them. Pruning used to be people just going in and snapping off a piece of boxwood just like this. And that would give them a little bit of air through there. The trouble is every time you snap it off, you don't always have a clean cut. Now I got lucky with that one. That's a nice clean cut. But most of the time there's a jagged cut, and jagged cuts take longer to heal. So if you're going to trim a boxwood, you use your hand clippers and you'll take a look and go, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit right here. Prune that out and take this out. There we go. And now there's a little bit of a hole there, but it's not so much of a hole that it's going to look like, oh my heavens, there's a hole there. And the nice thing about that is that means that there's got good air circulation through here, a little bit of sunshine can go through here, and the plant is going to be so much healthier because of that. Now the other thing is when you're looking at your boxes like this, you can take a look at them and see, are there any problems? Well, this one right here looks really nice. If you look at it, the leaves are nice and green. There's shiny green leaves. They look really, really happy. Over another couple of boxes over, there's a couple of problems. Well, come on over here and let me show you a boxwood that has got more than one problem. This one over here, like I said, these ones that I have in my hand are really, really nice. Nice and green, no problems. But this one right here, I'm going to go ahead and take a snip of it so I can show it to you a little clearer. You can see that there's some yellow spots inside the boxwood. It just looks like little round yellow spots. What's going on here is that there's actually a leaf miner, which is an insect that's living in between the top layer of the leaf and the bottom layer of the leaf. Now these insects are really difficult to control because any kind of insect spray that you put on it on top is not going to touch them. You only can go ahead and control it if you use like a systemic pesticide that you can pour into the ground and the roots take it up through the ground and into the leaves, and it'll only protect the brand new foliage. So anything that's already got a problem here, it's not going to work on it right now, but it will work on it for next year's new foliage. Now, when this little guy starts to mature, he's going to grow bigger and bigger throughout the winter, and then when he gets large enough, this whole leaf is going to be almost brown, and he'll hatch out, and it's going to look like there's a whole bunch of mosquitoes around the boxwoods. And that's really funny because I've seen that before, and I said to myself, what in the world is going on? The adult of this little teeny boxwood leafminer is a small fly, and it looks very delicate, almost like a mosquito. So if you see boxwoods that have a whole bunch of mosquitoes flying around them, you know you have a problem, and you're really too late for that particular year, but you can protect them for the next year. So what's going to happen with these guys, when they get mature, they're going to open up, the leaf will actually separate like an ice cream sandwich. The ice cream is going to melt on the inside and the two layers will open up, and the little teeny fly, mature fly, will hatch out and fly away. Right now he's just a little teeny larva, and they call this particular larva a maggot because it's a fly larva, very, very tiny. There's another problem in this area, and it's a lot more difficult to see, but I'm going to go ahead and get a cutting to see if I can get it for you guys. Okay. Now, on this one right here, if you look at the leaf, it's hard to see, but that leaf's got a lot of little teeny tiny scratches, very, very tiny scratches, like somebody was taking a little thin knife and making itty bitty etches in it. That is a type of boxwood spider mite, and it only attacks the boxwoods. Quite often they're on the underside, sometimes these are on the underside and on the top. And again, these are very difficult to control with just most herbicides, but there are, excuse me, not herbicides, pesticides, but you can go ahead and control them with certain systemic insecticides, and that would help the rest of the boxwoods. By pruning the boxwoods the way I showed you, making good air circulations, that also helps the pest pressure too. The plant is healthier, it has less hassles with diseases, it can grow better, it can actually outgrow some of these insects, and it doesn't give as good a home for the insects. It doesn't mean you'll never have insect pest pressure with your boxwoods. Pest pressure with your boxwood, that's hard to say real fast. Anyways, but it will keep your boxwood a lot healthier. So there's really three different types of insects that really, really bother boxwoods. The spider mite, the boxwood leafminer here, and something called a boxwood psyllid. We don't have any boxwood psyllid here, so I cannot show you that, which is wonderful because that's one of the ones that is also very difficult to control. What that does is it causes the new foliage, instead of being nice and flat like this foliage is, it causes it to cup over, and it sort of rolls itself over, and that way it makes a home for the psyllid, which is a little insect again. And then the insect will basically eat as much of the plant as it can. What they're doing is they're sucking all the juices out of the foliage. All of these three plant insects are suckers, so they suck all the juices out of the plants, and they sap the strength from the boxwoods. Makes it more difficult. There are a couple of different diseases that attack boxwoods. Volutella is one that we've prevented because we've gone ahead and made pruning cuts throughout the boxwoods, opening up little teeny holes to let the air go through and let the sunshine go through. And the other type of disease that they have is a root rot disease. And by planting them in really good sandy soil, or if you have heavy clay soil, plant them in a mound or correct the soil drainage so you don't have a real problem with soil drainage. And then you can go ahead and almost eliminate that too. You always want to make sure that you plant your boxwoods so they get afternoon shade. The afternoon shade will protect the plants themselves, and it'll also protect the roots. Boxwood roots are very shallow and they would dry out very, very quickly. It's really a mistake to try to plant them right up against a brick walkway and a black cement driveway because the heat will really make it difficult. We have one boxwood here that's showing some winter color, and I'd like to share that with you too. It's not going to hurt the boxwood, but there are a couple things that we could do to prevent it later on, maybe next year. Come with me. Now this is what I was talking about when I was talking about winter color. This is almost an orange or a salmon color. It happens when the plants have a pH that's off. The soil acidity is maybe too acidic or too basic. But quite often it happens because there's not enough magnesium in the soil. That can be fixed with a drench of Epsom salts, which is actually magnesium. So you can take 1 tablespoon of Epsom salts to 1 gallon of water and pour it around the boxwood, and that would really be a help. But before you do that, you should really take a soil test to see just exactly what you're dealing with. With this bronzy color, the orangey bronzy color, it often goes away as soon as the soil and the soil temperatures and the air temperatures get warmer, and then you'll have a green boxwood. I know in the summertime this boxwood was green as can be, and as soon as it got cold, it started turning this orange color, which is not a problem. If you find it totally objectionable, you can prune it out. But like I said, I would rather get a soil test done first, check on the soil acidity, maybe fix it with the Epsom salts, and see what happens. Now that we've got some boxwood cuttings, let's see what we can go ahead and do with them. So join me at a different location where we're going to make a boxwood wreath. Before we make that wreath, I just want to introduce you to a couple of more boxwood varieties. Some of them are more upright, some of them have a little bit of color. This is a boxwood, and the name is Boxwood elegantissima because it's variegated. So with this one, you've got green, but you've also got a lot of gold on this, which is really very pretty. Now again, you'd want to plant this where it gets afternoon shade so that it won't burn. But this is very, very pretty. And if you did a boxwood wreath with pieces of this, it would be very, very elegant, hence the term elegantissima. Now remember, boxwoods grow very, very slowly, so you're going to have to choose the boxwoods that you take cuttings of very carefully. This one right here grows maybe 1.5 inches a year. I've got one that grows even slower. This is Boxwood sempervirens Nana. This is a very small, flat top one. They've not pruned this. This is how it grows naturally. And this one grows about 1/4 inch a year. 1/4 inch a year, very tiny. This is one that's a little bit more upright. This is kind of cool. This is John Baldwin. Nice upright variety. So if you like a boxwood that grows upright, you could go ahead and use this. He grows maybe 2.5 inches a year. These are the slow growing boxwoods that make them wonderful formal hedges. This one right here is got fabulous winter color. Look how dark and rich this is, almost a blue-green. This is, let's see, Boxwood Vader Valley, kind of a cool name, but it's a nice, dark, rich, like I say, almost a blue-green, and it gets to be about 2.5 inches a year, large and small. Maybe maximum 3 feet tall, perfect for hedging. This guy right here, a little bit of a greener color, more of a true green as opposed to a blue-green. And this guy is Green Beauty, very pretty. Now the ones down in front are a little different. This one is always going to be more like a little globe. And this one always makes a pyramid, which is kind of neat. Now this one's showing a little bit of winter color, but it also has some of the little flowers on it too. So a lot of people who would look at it would go, oh, is there a problem here? And it's not, it's just got little teeny flowers on it. So it's kind of neat. Now this one grows like this naturally. You don't have to do any pruning with it at all. You can if you want to shape it up, make it look absolutely perfect if you want to. But once again, you still want to go ahead and put little holes in it so that you can go ahead and have good air circulation. Now boxwoods are trainable. They're very easy to train. If you get one that grows very fast, you can train it to do all kinds of cool things. And one of them is topiary. This one is obviously one that grows fairly fast because it's pretty tall, and they've got it into 3 different globes. And you've got a little bit of a space between this globe and a little bit of space between this globe. So every winter, you would want to go ahead and do a little bit of pruning, making sure that this is more rounded. This is more rounded. Definitely a space between these and a space between these, and round this up. And every year it's going to be a little thicker, a little denser, and but a living topiary, which is a lot of fun. And during the holidays, you can go ahead and decorate them if you want to. They're pretty hardy. Again, if they're in containers, you're going to have to be very, very careful. The more distressed the root system is, like for instance, if this was in a container, the more you'd want to make sure that it gets the afternoon shade. Very good. Well, since we've gone ahead and made sure that all the boxwoods have lots of natural holes for air to flow in and sunshine to shine down in and keep those boxwoods nice and healthy, we have all these boxwood cuttings that we need to do something with. There's 2 things you can do with them. One of them, you can actually use them as real cuttings and start new plants. And then you can give them away to your friends, and that's kind of fun, or plant them around your yard, however you want to do it. Or because this is the holiday season, we can make a wreath. Now, because these boxwood cuttings, because I was working on them, they didn't cost me anything, I decided to make a wreath that didn't cost me anything either. So I'm going to take a regular coat hanger, okay, that I got, and I'm going to turn it into a wreath. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it so that it has a roundish shape. It doesn't have to be perfect because the boxwood cuttings will kind of fill in also. And after all, there's no such thing as a perfect wreath, thank goodness. There we go. Okay, it's all round, or as round as it's going to be. Now the neat thing about this is it's got a hanger. So when we're done, it will be easy to hang up. All right, we've got these cuttings, and some of them are small, some of them are teeny tiny like this, because you didn't need to get an awful lot. And others, we went ahead and said, boy, we need to get a lot. So we got a lot out of them. But we need to make them all about the same size. So I'm going to grab these two and show you about how large I like to make them. With this one, I'm going to go ahead and cut this much off. Whoops. So about there. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So about 4 to 6 inches maximum. The larger the wreath, maybe you could go with larger pieces of greenery, but I like to have them small and a little on the, well, make sure that they're nice and full and green. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. So, all right. Now there's two ways or two thoughts of putting the actual wreath together. Some people like to take a bunch of the greens like this and put a whole bunch of them together. So they have a little bouquet or bundle. It depends on what you want to call it. Bundle or bouquet, either one works just fine. And they'll get it nice and thick like this. And then they'll take some wire. Green is always good because you're working with a green material. Always use wire cutters when you're cutting wire. Don't ever use scissors. You're going to ruin the scissors and you'll be upset about it later on. Or somebody in your household will be upset. Take a small little piece of wire, very flexible wire. You can hardly even see that. It's very, very tiny, and it's dark green. And then you wrap it around the base of the boxwood, just like that, making it really tight. Okay, and now you have a bundle. That would take a lot of time. So what I do instead is I'm going to start with this bundle, and then I'm just going to continue to wrap. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the boxwoods, hiding my hook. So I'm going to put it right like that. Now notice that there's no good side, bad side, wrong side, right side of this boxwood, which is always nice. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take the wire, okay, on a spool like this, and I'm going to wrap it around a couple of times really tightly so that this is firmly affixed. And 1, 2, I'm going to wrap it around also where the hook is, so that it'll be affixed there also. Now you want the wire to be thin enough that it's flexible, but not so thin that it's going to break, okay? So here I am with my wire. I'm going to roll it up a little bit. Now the next part is not difficult, it's just going to get a little tedious. But what I do is I go ahead and holding on to the wreath with one hand, I'm going to grab a whole bunch of boxwoods together like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of put them over top of the cut edges right there, just that far. And then I'm going to take the wire and wrap it around 3 or 4 times to hold it steady. Okay, and grab some more boxwoods. That's one reason why you want to go ahead and have the boxwood cut before you get started. So you can go ahead and just grab the boxwood. And then again, here's the part that I want to hide. I'm going to put it right over top. Bring my wire. Now, notice I haven't cut the wire off at all. And I'm still just wrapping it around a couple of times, as tight as I can so that it's not going to go anywhere. Okay. Then grab some more boxwood. You want to make sure when you're grabbing the boxwood that all the butts are about the same area. You don't want to have a whole bunch of them that are longer than the others. So about the same length. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hide that mechanics and bring this around again. And just wrap it a couple of times. And every now and then, I'm going to trust that I've done this right. Hold a second. And I'm going to go ahead and shake it to see if it's going to stay together. It's not falling out. Yay! Okay, let's go ahead and keep on working at it. when I'm working on it, I'm going to go ahead and hold it tight with my left hand while I grab a whole bunch more boxwoods with my right. Again, making sure that I keep all of the stems about the same distance. Hide the mechanics again. Okay, this one I have to put a little higher. There we go. All right. And like I said, it's not difficult. It just takes time. And it's good to do it with friends. That way you can always have somebody to talk to while you're doing this. And grabbing another bunch. Now, if you're going to go ahead and do other greens to go with it, that's certainly fine. I decided to do just a straight boxwood wreath because sometimes it's fun to do just one particular variety of plant. And also, I have so much boxwood here that I thought, well, let's just go ahead and do that. So I'm going to wrap that around now. 3 or 4 times. Of course, I don't count, do I? There we go. And some more boxwood. Now, when you finish with the boxwood and you hang it outside, you want to make sure that you keep the boxwood where it's going to be happy. Remember I said real boxwood like to be in the shade, especially in the afternoon? Well, even cut boxwood wreaths prefer to be in the shade in the afternoon too. If you have it on a wooden door with a glass screen door in front of it or a glass door in front of it and it's facing the sun, what's going to happen to that boxwood? It's going to bake. So you really have to be careful when you're putting a live material in a situation like that. If that's the kind of door that you have that's facing south or west and that's all you have, then you're really better off getting an artificial wreath that's not going to matter and save your boxwood and save all your greens for inside so you can go ahead and enjoy them without having them get too cooked or too brown. This would actually turn brown in just a couple of days. There we go. We're getting there. How's it looking? Halfway there, I think, almost. Okay. Okay, I think we've got one more bundle to go. I'm going to hold it up again so you all can see what I've got going. You grab the wire, and this will twist and turn a little bit. I've got to find my hanger. Here it is. I knew it was around here. So I'm going to hold it up for you guys. You can see that it's pretty much all the way around, and it's not exactly even 100%, but it's not too bad. But what I have to do now is put a bundle between this last bundle here and this bundle here, and I think it'll stop wiggling at that point. So I've got a whole bunch right here. And making sure that they're all together. And I'm going to put it, you can see where this last bundle is here? And here's the first bundle. Let me clear off this so you can see what I'm talking about. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right there, hiding the mechanics of this one. And then I'm going to wind it really tightly. And then I'm going to have to bind it off. So that's sometimes the tricky part. There we go. Before I stop, I want to make sure that that will do it. Yes, all right. And I'm going to go ahead and bring the wire through part of this other bundle just to be sure that it stays where it's supposed to be. And boxwood is very, very forgiving. And once you're done also, you can still kind of fluff it up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to bring it through here. I'm going to turn it around so it's facing frontwards because I want to do my last final, here, let me put it down here. My last final ties are going to be around the coat hanger part again. And the reason why I do that is I want to make sure that it's really going to be firm. Once again, I'm going to cut off the wire with wire cutters, not my clippers. If I did it on my clippers, I would ruin my clippers, and I would be very upset with myself. So I'm going to go ahead and go through here again, and back through here. Okay, good. There we go. Okay, I'm going to hold it up, Now, it's a little bit lopsided there, so I'm going to go ahead and just play with it just a little bit. Spreading it out. Getting a few leaves out. This was picked from a natural boxwood hedge. There we go. And that didn't cost anything but a little bit of time. If you do it with a friend, it'll be a lot of fun. A cup of hot chocolate, and you've got a wreath. Now, you can go ahead and put a bow on this if you wanted to. You could add different things to it if you like to add ornaments or berries or holly or anything like that. You could certainly do that. Or you could just leave it plain. Or if you wanted to, you could actually put it down like this and put a candle in the center, and it would be a beautiful centerpiece. There's all kinds of things you can do with beautiful boxwoods. There we go. Sometimes you can even make things like kissing balls, just whatever your heart's desire. You can make tiny wreaths or big wreaths. This one was fun because it was just really easy and simple to do. So whether you've got a beautiful elegantissima boxwood here, or the American boxwood, or the Old English boxwoods, or any of the variety of boxwoods that are nice and green during the winter, you should go ahead in December and do some pruning. Make sure you've got little holes into your plants to get good air circulation and good sunlight. And then you can play with them like this, and you can have a good time through the holiday season. So thank you so much for joining me while I put together this fun little wreath. And thank you for joining me for Delmarva Gardens right here on Pack 14.